What is up, YouTube? My name is D, otherwise named as D Walt. What is up, YouTube? Stop playing that right now. I was just making sure that I was really live streaming and that it wasn't a prank, bro. But today, after 3 weeks of being dead, because it's been really busy, I've just been having to do a ton of stuff, and finally, we're gonna get on with the Arcanine versus Entei, or Arcanine versus Entei, if you want to pronounce it that way. Sure, whatever. Or any variation of those as well you can do. But we're finally going to compare the Arcanine versus Entei argument, and we're finally going to do it after hinting it. Not even just hinting it. I straight up said I'm going to do an Arcanine versus Entei video, but at that time I was like, yeah, I don't want to think about anything. But I was like, I was gonna do another one of those show streams. So I was just like, yeah, I don't want to think of anything today. But yeah, like I owe it to you after 3 weeks of being dead. So like, yeah. Anyway, first of all, we're gonna compare these two, of course. Their sets, their abilities, their stats, so on and so forth. First, let's start with the basics. Just stats, right? So if we compare just stats, right? Entei has a better base stat total. I believe Arcanine's base stat total all added up is 555, and Entei's all added up is 580. So Entei straight off the bat has a better base stat total. Although Arcanine does beat it in special attack and special defense, although it only beats it in special defense by 5 points and special attack by 10. Everywhere else, Entei beats it. HP by 25, attack by 5, defense by 5, speed by 5. So the most lead Entei has is HP, and that's by 25 points. Everything else is by only 5. And Arcanine leads special attack by 10 and special defense by 5. So what I think here is you probably think, oh, the argument's over. Entei's better because besides special defense and special attack, he's better in everything else. And his HP is better by 25 points. That's a lot, right? Well, yes, of course it is. Boy, difference is here. Stats aren't all that matters in this case. If you have a godly stat total but no moveset, you're still a bad Pokemon. Doesn't matter. Like, if you have only one attacking move and you have these stats, it doesn't matter. So we're going to go into moveset next. Arcanine has the more diverse move pool. Now, if you'll see, Entei has it more filled, but I only did that because he has such a low move pool. What I mean by this is he has Sacred Fire, one of the best fire-type moves in the game, if not the best. Extreme Speed, which is priority. Iron Head, Stone Edge, Will-O-Wisp, Calm Mind, Eruption, Heat Wave, Double Edge, Extra Sensory, Shadow Ball, and Hidden Power Ice. Now, these right here, the Shadow Ball, Extra Sensory, Hidden Power Ice, any HP actually, and these right here are for a special set Entei. Now, mainly you're not going to run a special Entei just because of the difference of a special attack and attack being 25 points. Meanwhile, with Arcanine, it's only 10, so it could work either way. You could even run mixed on Arcanine if you really wanted to. Now, you could run a special Entei, but it's not recommended, like, at all. Like, I've never seen a special Entei ever. Plus, the only good moves he has, if he's special, if you want to run mixed, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Because then you'd have to run, like, Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, and then, like, Shadow Ball and Extra Sensory. And Shadow Ball and Extra Sensory doesn't even cover much, honestly. Shadow Ball, like, doesn't cover anything, honestly. It covers Psychic types, sure, but those aren't really a threat. You can get rid of those with Sacred Fire. Extra Sensory Psychic doesn't really cover anything either. It's super effective against like stuff like poison and fighting types, but then again, Sacred Fire gets rid of it. So there's no point to having a special Entei. His Eruption, sure, is one of the strongest fire type moves in the game, but if he takes any damage, that goes down in damage. And Sacred Fire is just so much better because it also has a 50% chance to burn, with also being 100 power. The only thing else that comes to mind that's 100 power right now is like Earthquake, for example. So it's not recommended for special Entei because like he's so limited. Calm Mind does not help him. You need a wasted turn for that, and literally something like Earthquake does a lot of damage to him. It doesn't matter if he has this much HP, and you're gonna need a wasted turn on that. He does not get faster off of that. He will also take a lot of damage from Surf because a lot of things are faster than him as well. Even if he is faster, he'll still take a lot of damage from something like Surf or Scald, Hydro Pump, so on and so forth, especially in the rain. He is at a big disadvantage. So special Entei is widely not recommended. I've never really seen it. So Shadow Box, your Sentry, HP, Eruption, Heat Wave, Calm Mind are all just gone as moves. As for Will-O-Wisp, that's a support Entei. I've never seen a support Entei either. Why? Because he doesn't have the ability to back it up. Right now, he does not have access to his Inner Focus. Previously, before Inner Focus, it was Flash Fire, but that's not the case anymore. It's Gen 7. It's Inner Focus. And even if he did have access to it, the only thing that it stops is Rock Slide Flinch or Fake Out Flinch, something like that. It doesn't really help him that much. Pressure, sure, if you want to run the bulky set, like Calm Mind, bulky, quote-unquote, because he's still going to take a lot of damage because fire has a lot of weaknesses, being like rock, ground, water. There's one more. I believe it has 4 weaknesses. I don't know why I can't think of it. Ground, rock, that's 2. Water, that's 3. I don't know actually. Oh yeah. Let me see. I believe there is one more. Pretty sure about it. Just looking through the types real quick and see if I can find it. Is there really not? Why can't I? You know what? Let me stop being stupid. Let me just go here to Sun and Moon Pokedex. Look at the types. And okay, so let's start again. Water, which is 1. 2, rock. 3, ground. It's not weak to any of these. Is it really only 3? What? Okay. Weak to water, weak to ground, weak to rock. Wow, it's only 3. I thought it was 4. Okay. I'm just stupid then. Never mind. It's only 3. I thought it was 4. Oh, whatever, right? Water is very common. Water is very, very, very common. Whether it be Primarina or just something that carries Scald. Scald is very commonly carried. Rock and ground. Ground is also very common because Earthquake is all over the place. As well as kind of rock, because stuff likes to carry Rock Slide. Not for the power, but just because it can flinch as well. So these 3 types are actually very common. Water and ground being more common, but rock is still a threat. So you're not going to be able to set up with this Will-O-Wisp Calm Mind, combination at all. You're just going to take way too much damage, and Entei won't honestly do anything. Double Edge is also not a good thing for him, even though it's physical, because he will take way too much damage in return, and Double Edge is not super effective against anything. So these 2, honestly, are gone as options. Just straight up gone as options. So really, it comes down to these 4 moves, which he will almost always carry. Sacred Fire for stab, and because it's one of the best fire type moves in the game, to take advantage of his physical attack stat. Extreme Speed for priority, and because it's one of the best priority moves in the game. Because it's priority +2, which means it goes before quick attack, aqua jet, so on and so forth. And it has a power of 80 when usually priority attacks have a power of 40. Stone Edge, which does have a 20% chance of missing, but it's to get rid of something that is a flying type that you can't get rid of immediately. So let's say you want to get rid of a Crobat immediately because it's a threat to you. You know Sacred Fire won't knock it out. That's your option right there. Something bulky like Braviary. You know you won't kill it with Sacred Fire. Kill it with Stone Edge. Iron Head. Now this is probably the least useful. Why do I say that? Because this can be switched out with Bulldoze, which I actually think is much better on him than Iron Head, because Iron Head is only going to be used for, let's say, fairy types, and you're resistant to fairy. You don't really need Iron Head. Other than that, it's super effective against rock and ice. You don't need it for ice because you have Sacred Fire. Rock, yeah, sure, you need it, but Bulldoze has the same amount of power, I believe. Oh, 60. Okay, but Bulldoze does lower the speed, always. And if something faster than you, you just made it slower, and then you can kill it. Iron Head could still be useful for the rock type, so I could still see it being on Entei. But these really maybe switch out Iron Head with like maybe Bulldoze sometimes, and you'll almost always see Entei run this set. Almost always. It's like never different. It's very predictable. The item will either always be Life Orb or a choice item, being banned or scarfed. I've rarely seen it be scarfed, but it has a chance. Most of the time, it'll be banned. It'll be banded. Here's the order, in my opinion. It's usually choice band, then orb, then scarf. I've rarely seen it being scarfed, though. Usually it's banded, because Sacred Fire banded does a mother load of damage on anything, with also a 50% chance of being burnt. So even if a water type wants to come in, if it gets burnt, then it takes damage, residual damage every turn, and that's not good for it. So Entei is very predictable in this set. Arcanine, all of these moves I put here are good. It's not like Entei where I had to put like random ass moves. No, all of these moves are good on him. Flare Blitz. You can run physical if you want to. Flare Blitz, Wild Charge. Flare Blitz does a ton of damage if you run physical. Wild Charge does a ton of damage. Good for water types. Extreme Speed. One of the best priority moves in the game. Close Combat. One of the best fighting type moves in the game. Gets rid of bulky normal types for you if you want. Gets rid of rock types for you. It can also learn Bulldoze. Just a hint there. I didn't put it on here. Yeah, I didn't even put... I think it can learn Bulldoze, right? Yeah, it can learn Bulldoze. I didn't even put it on here. Because it has so many good moves. Morning Sun, Will-O-Wisp. This actually works well with Arcanine because he can get access to Intimidate. Because his defenses aren't that bad. And his HP isn't that bad. So, if you want to come in on something that's a physical attacker, you can get the Intimidate off. Know you can take a hit then, because it's -1. Get the Will-O-Wisp, minus their attack even further. And you can just be a tank and you'll never die. Heat Wave for doubles, or if you want to run special. If you're in singles and you don't want to risk the miss, then you go for Flamethrower instead, but obviously we shift that around. But Heat Wave is still a brilliant move, and it's still a move worth mentioning, as well as Flamethrower. Snarl, again, you see the power, and it's just like, oh wow, why would I ever want to use that? Snarl, because if you run the bulky set, then you have coverage for special. So let's say, right? You have, let's make an Arcanine set right now. Arcanine, right? Intimidate. You have Willow. You have Leftovers. Okay? Now you have Snarl added onto that. Morning Sun to heal. And let's say any attacking move, doesn't matter. Let's say Extreme Speed, maybe. You can even learn Dragon Pulse. I forgot to mention that. I didn't put that in here. Let's say you just want to have Flamethrower. It's basic, right? Dragon Pulse is also another move you want to watch out for, because that's also a brilliant move to have on him as well. So you just have all of these, right? You have it maxed out special defense, maxed out attack HP, so it can actually take some defensive hits now. Also giving it one more defense doesn't hurt. Give it this as well. Make it calm. And now it could take special attacks for days, and it will also take defensive hits due to its HP and due to its Intimidate. Also, you can burn it, and burn is -2, if you didn't know. Snarl will -1 special attack 100% of the time, and it will make it so you take more special attacks. So really, you can make this thing bulky AF, and then just have these two moves on it. This for like stab damage if you want. And honestly, Arcanine will be a threat to everything. It doesn't matter if you're rock, water, or ground type, honestly. Because most ground types are physical, mostly carrying Earthquake, so you can just Intimidate and then Will-O-Wisp. Most rock types are physical, carrying Rock Slide or Stone Edge. Again, Intimidate, Will-O-Wisp. Now, most water types are special, but you can deal with this with your other Pokemon, and sometimes water types have like Waterfall, etc. So it is situational, but most of the time Arcanine will, go on. Also having access to Iron Head, Crunch, Outrage, D-Pulse, as I just figured out myself, Flame Charge, even if you want to raise your speed. Also having access to Toxic if you don't want Will-O-Wisp. Reflect as well if you want more support behind that. So really, Arcanine has a wonderful move pool. It is very unpredictable because you don't know which set it'll run. When Entei, he literally has 5, maybe 6 good moves. And you can always predict that it will have Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed. Third slot is usually filled with Stone Edge. Fourth slot is maybe debatable between, like, let's say Iron Head or Bulldoze, or if you want to be that person, Double Edge. But that's it, right? That's the extent of it. It'll always have maybe these 3 moves because it's literally the only moves it has that are good. Arcanine also having Justified if you want to run, the physical variant. And switch into a dark type move that you can tank, get your attack up, and just sweep. Arcanine honestly is just better because it has access to more abilities, more moves in general that are all good. All good. It's not like Entei where like 5 of his moves are good. Arcanine's moves are all good that he has access to. Well, the viable ones, because obviously Tackle's not going to be good. And it's like, if you count them all, like his moves that he can use, it's honestly going to be like around like 20 or some shit. When Entei is like 5 or 6. I would count right now, honestly, but I don't want to. Because remember, D-Pulse is also an option, Flamethrower. Again, just every option here. And then you can make any set you want out of these moves. And they're all going to be useful. They're all going to be helpful to you in one form or the other. So in this case, I think Arcanine is better than Entei, like 100%. I think Entei is very predictable, and Entei can literally run any item. Arcanine can run literally any item he wants to. He can run Scarf and work with it. He can run Band, work with it. He can run Orb, work with it. He can run Leftovers and work with it. He can run Berry and work with it. He can run Rocky Helmet and work with it. He can run Citrus Berry and work with it. When Entei, okay, banned. Orb, Scarf, very rare to see on him. So, honestly, at the end of the day, I really do think Arcanine is better. And Arcanine does win this battle, which has been debated for a very long time. Who wins Arcanine versus Entei? Thank you for your time. I know this was short, but tried my best. See y'all next time.